Have you ever felt like this? I need more energy! After watching this video, you'll feel more like this. So this is one of the most common questions I get. In fact, just this week, one of my friends reached out to me and asked me this same question, so I figured I'd turn my response to him into a video that all of you can watch as well, in case you're struggling in that area. So the question is, how do you deal with losing motivation or trying to find energy to get into the gym? How do you deal with laziness? This one's dedicated to you, Gary, you lazy bastard.
Rock the booth.
Here's what my friend said to me. But man, I need to try and get back in shape, man. I might need your help and expertise. Oh yeah, man, I'd love to. I really should have put another man here just to balance it out. Have you tried any methods yet or just starting out? I was being good about tracking my weight and trying to watch what I eat, but I've been lazy again. The first thing I told him he should do is realize that his problem isn't knowing what to do to get into shape or how to do it. So he doesn't need to find some new exercise plan or diet. It's how to stop losing motivation or losing energy or, getting lazy. Knowing that is very important because it tells you where you should direct your efforts. Rather than hoping that he'll just one day wake up with enough energy and motivation to get back into the swing and leaving it to chance, he should set his targets on fixing the real problem. Don't underestimate how big of a step it is to identify the source of your problem. When we encounter something in our daily life that causes us pain or discomfort, the first reaction is to alleviate the pain in the easiest way possible. But the easiest is at best not the best, and at worst a detrimental waste of time. Yes, that really is a real sentence. For many of us, we alleviate the pain of feeling lazy or feeling out of shape by using distractions. So we turn to social media or surfing the web. We turn on the TV and find an endless supply of entertainment to keep us from thinking about it, as well as an endless supply of car insurance commercials. Ugh. So sick of Progressive.
I would love to tell you about all the Progressive.
And Geico. Some people turn to drugs or alcohol to feel good without actually solving any problem. We also become ripe targets for easy fixes and get-rich-quick schemes because we start falling victim to wishful thinking because we don't have a clear picture of the root of the problem. Why not just go with whatever's easiest?
Take that heroin, bro.
Well, you'll stop falling for whatever's easiest once you can see where the root of the problem is, because then you'll be able to see clearly that they don't do anything to address the problem. They're just another waste of time. So the first step is to identify the true problem. And as I said a moment ago, the true problem is losing motivation or losing energy. Once you realize that's the problem, you'll see that this really is an issue of mental training. It's not physical training or diet. Many people never make that distinction, so they keep looking for the wrong solution. You don't need some new 1 minute per day exercise plan.
7 minute abs. Right. Yes. Okay. All right. I see where you're going.
Or some new diet pill, or the perfect energy drink. By the way, did you see that there's one called cocaine now? Seriously? What's next? Like a sleep aid called Murdered?
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Anyway, those things are possible solutions to a physical training or diet problem, and that's not what you have. So if you're ready to admit that that's your problem, let me tell you how to solve it. How do we gain energy? Maybe you think caffeine from coffee or energy drinks or pre-workout mixes are the way to go. And it's true, they do provide a short burst of energy. They also tend to cause a crash after they wear off. And they also have an increasing tolerance effect, meaning that you'll need to have more and more to have the same effect. This, combined with their addictive nature, can over time lead you to need them just to have a regular amount of energy. What you already had when you started off. If you're not careful, you'll soon become that guy who drinks 2 pots of coffee per day just to stay awake. These might be good if you're already having motivation and discipline to work out or exercise, and you just need a little boost to shake off the fatigue and give you a better workout. But they're not a good solution for long-term energy or motivation. Here's the simple answer where energy comes from. Long, luscious, luxurious locks of... Oh, wait. Sorry. Energy begets energy. Or in other words, energy generates energy. Sound backwards? Doesn't it seem like if you laid in bed and slept for days, you should wake up overcharged, like Gary Busey on speed?
And you're gonna miss it all. You don't do
the final form. Stop it right now! Stop it! Stand up and face me!
I'm not gonna let you hit me tonight. Are you crazy?
You won't trust and believe in me!
You're gonna spin off this planet. I love it. Keep at it.
Okay, Ari.
Jiminy Christmas. I guess I should have just said Gary Busey normal. But anyway, what happens if you lay in bed all day? I'm sure you know, you lazy pieces of... What happens is you end up with zero energy and have to fight hard to get going again. That's because energy comes from expending energy. If you want energy right now, well, sorry, but today's energy came from yesterday and the day before that.
I'm not sorry.
So instead of trying to get energy right now, think about how spending the energy you do have today is going to generate for you more energy tomorrow, and how tomorrow's spent energy is going to generate for you even more energy the day after that. This is the rule of energy. Look up entropy sometime. Don't try to fight the rule. Try to use it to your advantage. If you slowly and steadily increase tomorrow's energy by your actions today, by just a little bit each time, then it compounds on itself like a snowball, increasing in size as it rolls downhill until you have tons of energy. But it all came from small little increases each day. Those small increases are dramatically easier than trying to muster up a ton of energy at once. The key is consistently building it up every day. And here's where you identify another root of the problem: consistency. You see, this is actually a 3-layer dip problem that needs to be solved. Having consistency leads to having energy, and having and using energy begets more energy, which becomes motivating. And having consistency, energy, and motivation leads to success in your physical training and diet. They all stack on top of each other like a delicious dip, and these are tortilla chips. So you can see why when your problem is a lack of energy, addressing your training or diet issues is like putting a band-aid on an infection. You have to dig deeper and solve the infection before the band-aid's gonna have any effect at all. If you wanted to kill a tree, you can go outside with an axe and chop it down with sheer muscle. But there's another way to kill a tree. If you went outside and pulled off a few leaves at a time, consistently, every day, you would eventually kill that tree without using any strength at all. Although you might look like a psycho to your neighbors. But that's the key to building consistency, starting with something that takes virtually no strength at all, because strength is not a requisite for consistency. I often think about how a single drip of water, when it's consistent over time, can eventually cut through stone. It can pulverize an entire boulder. And how weak is a drop of water? Mastering the art of being consistent is a much greater fortress to capture than any skill with diet or exercise would be. And the best part is, it's not a discipline that has to be developed with something that takes tons of strength or effort. Once it's built, however, it can carry things that do involve immense strength and effort. And that's what I told my friend. I told him that it's much easier if you work with where you are right now. Some people wake up one day and they just decide to go 100 miles an hour at an intense, crazy P90X type workout plan, and it ends up working for them. If you're one of those people, outstanding. You're likely not going to benefit from this video, and you're likely not even watching it right now anyway. Is anyone though? But for everyone else, you've probably tried that once or twice in your life, and what ends up happening? You get burnt out, sometimes very quickly, especially once the soreness kicks in and your old habits start to rise up again and pull you back to your old life. Then all your friends and family ask how it's going. Ugh. So embarrassing. So instead of trying to work against your nature and against your habits, try and work with them. Rather than trying to stop a missile going Mach 1 in the wrong direction by blocking it with a brick wall, which is a bad idea, why not fly up beside it and slowly nudge it until you get it pointed to the right target? Slowly nudging your current habits in the right direction is how you create permanent change, like an everlasting flame rather than a flash that quickly burns out and goes back to the old way. Isn't that what you want? Don't you want permanent change? Take an assessment of your daily life. What good exercise or diet habits do you already have that you've been able to stick with? If you have none, that's okay too. I'm going to tell you where to start. But what you do is you build on those until you have enough momentum going to take them to the next level. You want to push yourself, but not so hard that you ever reach a system shock that burns you out or causes you to give up. Remember, the target here is to avoid losing motivation and avoid losing energy. Pushing yourself too hard might sound good, but it can actually sabotage those goals. So you need to be careful about it. If you don't have any good habits to start with, here's what you do. Commit to something that you know you can stick to every day, or even every other day to start with. That means it's going to be something easy. Maybe just a 15, 20, 30-minute walk on your lunch break. For diet, start tracking your calories, but don't change your diet at all. What? Eat whatever and however you would normally be eating, but get into the habit of tracking every single morsel that goes into your mouth on a calorie counting app. Personally, I use MyFitnessPal. First of all, this will provide a mind-body connection for you, helping you to see how what you eat is actually affecting you. You'll be amazed at what has tons of calories and what doesn't, what's actually healthy and what isn't. It's often not what you thought. This is very valuable insight, and you haven't even made any changes to your diet. When I started doing this, I realized that my day was actually pretty good overall until I had some of my mom's spaghetti for dinner.
There's vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti.
See? Marshall Mathers gets it. Anyway, that dinner was about the size of all the calories I should have eaten in a single day, and I had no idea, not even a clue. I actually thought it was a pretty healthy meal. Second, establishing a habit of tracking calories will be an invaluable tool to you when you start making changes to that diet. It's another great foundation for you to build on. Whatever you choose to do, remember, it takes 21 days to establish a habit. That's 3 weeks if you're a moron. But hear me, good habits are just as hard to break as bad ones. Did you know that? Once something becomes a habit, it becomes automatic, mindless, like answering someone who's nagging you while you're watching an episode of the new Unsolved Mysteries. It's not an effort anymore because your subconscious has taken over and put it on autopilot. It is then that you can ramp it up a little bit more until that change also becomes autopilot. Your 20-minute walk can jump up to 30 minutes, or maybe you jog for the first 30 seconds of each walk. Maybe do 10 squats with your body weight each time you walk. Easy. Keep it easy. The goal is something you know you can commit to every time. If you're walking twice a week, jump it up to 3, 4, 5 times a week. If you get a spark of motivation, which will happen from time to time, jump on it. Just don't burn out. In other words, if you suddenly feel good about going from twice a week to 5 times a week, do it. Don't force yourself to stick to changes that are too easy, but also don't force a change that you can feel you're resisting and aren't going to like. You don't want to resent it or experience burnout. In that case, just move up to 3 times a week instead. Your 30-second jog can bump up to a minute, then over time, eventually a few minutes. After a while, you may end up jogging the whole time. As you actualize these changes, you'll see how they compound on each other. You'll feel good about being consistent with something, even if it's minor. Feeling good about it gives you energy to tackle the next positive change. Then the reaction kicks on and energy starts begetting energy. And since you're more active, you suddenly find yourself having more energy. Before long, these seemingly minor small changes snowball into a real tidal wave of energy. And because you've built the habit of consistency the right way, it only builds from there. Counting calories turns into a goal of changing your calories to favor protein, then into a goal of limiting your calories to a certain amount per day. Your daily walks turn into a daily jog or a daily workout. Your workout starts off easy and light, then eventually transitions into challenging and heavy. And because it's now a habit, it's just as hard to break as those bad habits you used to fight all the time. This is how it's done. This is how you get out of your rut and how you can find yourself with energy and motivation. When a car's stuck in a rut, you slowly rock it back and forth with small movements until the momentum builds enough to pop you out. So what are you gonna do? Before I go, I want to share with you a true story. When I was in my mid-20s, I started to get depressed. I know, before it was popular, I was way ahead of my time.
I don't care.
I had figured out the key to successful diet and exercise when I was about 22 or so. So I knew what I was doing, but I was burned out in my job and I was in a relationship where we just weren't a good match for each other. I lost my motivation to go to the gym or pay attention to my diet. I got overweight, and for years, it seemed like I just couldn't get the energy to start back up again. I started to believe I was never going to get back on track with my health ever again. How do I ever get out of this rut? I'm just too lazy to get going. Maybe I should just give up on life. Then, and this was about 10 years ago when all those studies started saying that sitting down is the new smoking, that sitting all day is extremely detrimental to your health, and even standing up once per 15 minutes is way better than sitting all day. So then I thought, well, that's easy enough for me to do. I can at least stand up and sit right back down. I mean, who can't do that? By the way, let that be a lesson to you. If starting off with a 20 to 30 minute walk is too much to commit to, start off with something even easier, like standing up. Okay, almost anybody can do that, all right? Unless you have a disability.
How dare you!
Remember, pick something so easy you know you'll be able to commit to it. So I'd keep my eye on the watch, and every time the hand was on the 12, 3, 6, or 9, that's every 15 minutes if you're a moron, I would stand up for a second and then sit right back down again. After a few weeks, it became second nature. Other people in the cubicles around me started to join in, and soon several of us were standing up as soon as they saw me do it and then sit back down again. To tell you the truth, I don't know if I ever felt any health benefit from it, but I did feel very good about consistently doing something good for my health. Finally, it became kind of addicting and motivating to try and do something else healthy. So I added calf raises to my stands. Every time I stood up, I'd do 10 calf raises on each side before I sat back down. After a couple of weeks of this, the energy begets energy system kind of started to kick in, and I craved doing something else healthy. I started taking walks on my lunch break by myself with headphones on, listening to music to keep me motivated. These started off slow but grew over time until I was walking almost a full hour way off into some fields behind my work office, and I never found a single dead body.
Yes, Frank. A dead body can have that effect on you.
And then That's when it happened. The spark started to turn into a flame, and I started to crave going to the gym. But now I was starting to figure this system out. So I committed to go no more than twice per week because I didn't want to burn myself out. So I swapped 1 or 2 weekly walks with a lunch break gym workout. Going to the gym eventually motivated me to focus on my diet more. And after a few weeks of this, then the flame was a full-on blaze. And I started going to the gym 5 to 6 times per week. This eventually turned into occasional twice per day workouts, and it led to me getting into the best shape of anyone I personally knew in my circle of friends and family. That is a true story. And it never felt like I had to fight against my laziness or muscle through a grueling change with sheer willpower. Every step of the way, I was excited to make the small lifestyle change because I had just enough extra energy for that next level that was required. That energy came from tasting success with the last thing I had been consistent with. And you know what? While I was doing this, I'd see other people in the gym who were in fantastic shape, looking like Greek gods walking around. And I had other friends who were so much more active than me. I knew other people that went from a cold stop, not working out at all, to suddenly going every day, and they stuck with it. Jerks. Meanwhile, I was making slow changes that were taking months. And you're gonna see this same thing too, but you can't focus on that. Remember this, comparison is the thief of joy. It really is. Resist at all cost the temptation to compare yourself with others. You should only compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Everyone is on their own path, on their own journey. You don't know what they've gone through on theirs, or what is coming up for them around the next bend. Maybe it's something you conquered years ago. It's pointless to compare, and it only results in negative consequences for your progress. Focus on yourself, and one day you might just look back and suddenly realize you've surpassed where they were anyway. My consistency eventually outlasted most of their efforts because it was built on the right foundation. All right, let's wrap this thing up, but let me leave you with some words of wisdom to help you as you try to implement this day by day. You cannot do today's daily exercise tomorrow.
You underestimate my power.
It's easy to say, I don't really feel like doing it today, I'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow is for tomorrow's exercise. There are some things in this life that have an opportunity window of time, and once they're gone forever. You only have today to do today's exercise, and you've only got one shot. Again, thank you, Marshall Mathers. Do it today while you still can. I don't know who said it, but someone online once said there are 2 E's in life, eventually and every day. You can tell yourself you will eventually do something, and you probably never will. Or you can do it every day. If you don't do it every day, then you will do it eventually, which more often than not means that you'll never do it. Start now. Don't finish this video and tell yourself, that sounds good, I'll do it eventually. Do it now. Pause this video right now and do a couple of push-ups, or do 10 squats with just your body weight, or do some calf raises, or at the very, very least, stand up and sit back down. I mean it. Pause this video and do it now. Pause it. Okay, you did it. Or did you? You did it today. Now, it started, and it'll start a chain reaction that'll grow from there. Do it again tomorrow. You've officially kicked it off. Nice job. One of my favorite anonymous internet quotes is, if I quit now, I will soon be back where I started. And when I started, I was desperately wishing to be where I am right now. Remember this when you feel like quitting. You know exactly where that road leads. You've been down it before.
You know exactly where it ends.
And when you were down that road, you desperately wanted to be where you are now. You would have killed to be this far along. So don't feel like where you are now is trivial. Even right now, in this moment, before you've started, you probably have the kind of motivation right now that you desperately wished you would have had yesterday. Don't waste it. Your past self would hate you so much right now. And one final comment, don't forget that the problem of motivation or energy could be compounded by 2 very practical factors: lack of sleep and nutrient deficiency. If you're lacking sleep because you sit up playing with your phone all night like a dumb
Go to bed early, you doofus. Because when you're sleeping, there's no lonely times. It's just dreams.
Set some boundaries, like no phone after 9 p.m. and set it to do not disturb after that time. Let friends and family know that if it's an emergency, call you twice in a row. Most phones have a setting where back-to-back calls from the same number overrides the do not disturb setting and lets them get through in an emergency, but all other notifications are blocked. But don't worry, You're probably not that important anyway. If your problem is some form of insomnia, realize that you will likely start to fall asleep a little bit easier once you begin implementing these habits and burn some energy during the day. So even if you're tired now, start doing them today anyway so you can have a better tomorrow. Remember, energy begets energy, so you'll have more energy to handle your daily tasks as you start using more energy to do this. You may also want to consider melatonin if you can't fall asleep, valerian root if you can't stay asleep. This is a great blend called Relax and Sleep that I use, or diphenhydramine if you don't get tired at night, which is the active ingredient in Z-Quil or Unisom. Look, I am not your doctor, so consult him or her before trying anything like this, and don't come crying to me if you die, especially if you die. Then you'd be a zombie? Yeah, just don't come crying to me. If you're a caffeine drinker, caffeine actually has a half-life of up to 10 hours. Did you know that? It's kind of long, right? Meaning that the cup of coffee you drink at noon can still keep you up even when you lay down for bed at 9 p.m., even if you don't feel it. Don't drink any caffeine after the morning. Sorry. A nutrient deficiency in a lot of cases is much easier to fix than you might think. Just start taking a good multivitamin, some calcium, magnesium, and omega-3s in the form of flax oil or fish oil. Capsules are more easily absorbed than tablets. You should know pretty quick if you suddenly start feeling a lot better. But for everyone else, don't expect to get energy from vitamins. Even the advertised B vitamin energy blends, you only see a change with those if you're already deficient in something, in which case you're actually just returning to your body's normal healthy homeostasis, not gaining new energy. There's plenty of reasons to take a multivitamin, but energy increase is generally not one of them, unless you're a moron. Hey, this has been Dwayne with Thor Core Fitness. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I have another one that goes hand in hand with it called mental training.
It's totally mental!
No, not that kind of mental. It's more about setting goals that motivate you and getting your subconscious to work for you rather than against you. It's very similar to this type of training. In fact, I could have called this video Mental Training Part 2. So if you've enjoyed this, I hope you check that one out too. If you please subscribe to this channel, not only will you see more content like this as it happens, but it makes a huge difference in having the YouTube algorithm share this content with more people, making it easier for me to produce them as well. Plus, I'm only doing this to get filthy rich. Thank you, and may God bless you on your journey to self-improvement.